These altcoins versus Bitcoin are showing some incredibly unusual chart patterns right now. Patterns that we've not seen in crypto for months. This is showing a significant sentiment shift is happening in the markets right now that many people haven't realized. Not only that, but with Ethereum seeing record shorts being placed by Wall Street traders, I think something very significant is going to be happening rather sooner than many people are expecting. Also, right this second, Bitcoin dominance. Is it really showing to be breaking towards the downside? This is a classic chart pattern, and we're going to be talking about that in this video because we've seen many false alarms over the last few weeks and months. Maybe this is it, guys. Hit the like button. Let's get into today's video. Now, guys, before we dive in and find out a little bit more about those crazy altcoin chart patterns that are showing up literally today and have been showing up over the weekend, something serious to talk about. Many people, I've seen it in the comments, I've seen it on Twitter, YouTube, and in my private groups and things like that. People saying that we are going lower, that this is just a dead cat bounce, that this can't possibly continue towards the upside until a significantly bullish piece of news happens in crypto. Well, many of you are asking for quantitative easing, but guess what? We've been in quantitative tightening since the start of this bull market. Bitcoin was at $15,000. It's been up to $109,000 without any QE. Okay, so don't think that that is something that constrains us here. Yes, bullish news helps, and yes, we have been getting bearish news, and every time it feels like we're getting kicked lower and lower, but don't let the sentiment fool you. Don't get fooled by the emotions this market is trying to make you see, because right this second, as I look at this Bitcoin chart, you are seeing a continuation bullish pattern. We've seen a high low. Okay, another higher low, and if this goes and continues up here, we are likely to break all-time highs, and this can happen perhaps sooner than you think. So stop thinking in the back of your mind that you need some significant news event or something else, because unfortunately, guys, I know we've been through painful periods of time over the last few months, particularly as maybe we've got too much exposure to altcoins, but this is just PTSD. The market makers who control these markets know how you're feeling. They're reading your comments on Twitter. They're reading your comments on YouTube. They understand the sentiment in the market. And when everyone is flipping bearish, guess what? They're going to rip it towards the upside, and then they're going to change the game for everyone. Okay, so mass psychology is always the biggest indicator. Do the opposite of what the market feels like it's telling you to do, and often you're not really too far wrong. Okay, so what on earth is going on with Ethereum, and why is Ethereum such a key element to this bull market? Now, you know, guys, phase one of a bull market is Bitcoin. Phase two is Ethereum. And then we go into large caps and the altcoins. And everyone has been like, well, yeah, but Solana's been pumping, XRP's been pumping, and really no Ethereum. But this could be all about to change. We know, we've seen the transactions of Donald Trump buying tens of millions of dollars of Ethereum every single day. We've seen various other institutions loading up on spot. As we jump across to this tweet from VoidedXBT, it's basically saying that Wall Street hedge funds have placed a record number of shorts on Ethereum, but they're doing it at a low cost. On the flip side of things, they're also buying a massive amount of Ethereum. What on earth are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to create an environment where everyone's starting to panic and go into these short positions. That's why the media has been printing lots of information about this. They're trying to make you scared. If Wall Street's doing something, they probably know something I don't. Maybe I should go short on Ethereum too. This is where the trap lies. This is how they get you in these markets. They're trying their best to flip everyone bearish, and it's worked. The majority of people are now panicking. The majority of people are probably heavily sidelined and don't really want to be getting into these crypto markets. If you've managed to hold through these periods of time, these kind of indicators are showing you the bearish times will soon be over, much sooner than little bearish Timmy's telling you in the comments. And while many people are saying that Ethereum's a dead project and whatever else, if you go across to DeFiLlama.com and go and simply look at the volume on Ethereum, just a couple of days ago, it did $3.8 billion. It hasn't done that much volume for nearly 6 months, okay? This is showing that despite what the media is trying to tell you about Ethereum, it's still an incredibly strong project. If you look at the TVL, it's still surging, still up around $80 billion, which is bonkers. The number of transactions on Ethereum is almost at a record high. Okay, so ignore the FUD. Ignore the things that people are trying to tell you about these projects because fundamentally they're still very strong. You've got people, large institutions, buying on spot. They're buying in big volumes. They're trying to shake out the rest of the market by creating this kind of smoke screen. But really, Ethereum is absolutely primed. And if we jump back across to this Bitcoin chart, while Bitcoin today is not looking particularly interesting. Crucially, it's still holding these lows, still holding this support, and right now, the key indicator isn't Bitcoin. It's not even Bitcoin dominance, but it is just this. Coins like EOS against Bitcoin, up 33% on the day. It was up around 109% against Bitcoin earlier on today, but up 33% on the day. Cardano versus Bitcoin, up 11% on the day. HBAR, up 2.2% versus Bitcoin on the day. And that might not be much to you, okay? But this is why it's so significant. Over these last few months, every time Bitcoin has a little bit of downside, we've seen the altcoins bleeding so aggressively. And yet, right now, after the fear and sentiment in the market is awful, a lot of these bigger altcoins are now showing strength against Bitcoin when Bitcoin is down. Bitcoin goes down, typically altcoins go down harder. But today, Bitcoin is down a little bit, altcoins up a lot against it. XLM up 6.3% versus Bitcoin. Sui up 8.5% versus Bitcoin. And Ethereum versus Bitcoin, while not showing incredible amounts of strength, is still holding nicely in this area. And in fact, if you look at what happened last time, Ethereum versus Bitcoin was here, back on the 28th of December, 2020, which was like 3 days before, basically, altcoin season began to run, okay? Then you'll see that we've seen a very, very similar pattern here, okay? We have that very big wick towards the downside showing buy pressure. Ethereum showing significant buy pressure on this chart here. Just the other day, we saw record volatility on Ethereum, and this is perhaps indicating that the markets are getting set to move. Now, why are we seeing XLM, HBAR, Cardano, Sui, EOS, and some of these like larger coins seeing a huge amount more in terms of their growth versus Bitcoin than perhaps some of the smaller caps? Well, because the smart money, the institutions, etc., are loading up ready for the moves into these larger altcoins. Okay, typically these altcoins run very fast. Market makers manipulate the prices, pump them up. Everyone then is forced to ape in late. Okay, but these were the ones that front run. As soon as we saw Donald Trump winning the election, we saw these altcoins seeing some serious moves. I think we are starting to see the very early phases of that happening once more. So what about Bitcoin dominance? Okay, the all famous Bitcoin dominance. I know on this channel I've talked about Bitcoin dominance, and I thought that maybe we'd seen a top down here all the way back in November. And yes, we did get a mini altcoin season. Some altcoins ran really hard. We saw XRP doing a 5x. We saw Sui doing a number of X's. We saw even Cardano doing like 4x. HBAR did an 8x. And that obviously was some form of little altcoin season, but not the full-blown altcoin season that we're all waiting for. And you're like, yeah, but we've got like 11 million different altcoins on CoinMarketCap. These are not going to go into altcoin season. But, well, here's my theory on that. There are a lot of altcoins out there. But actually, the majority of people are going to be buying into altcoins that are easily available on exchanges, centralized exchanges. So even MEXC, which is linked down below, that has probably the most number of altcoins of any exchange out there, only has 4,000 different altcoins. And that's still a lot of altcoins, but that's nothing compared to that kind of wider number. So yes, other altcoins out there and meme coins will take some liquidity, but not the mass liquidity. When retail floods into these markets, they're not going to be off trading meme coins on Phantom Wallet. They're going to be like, what can I buy on Binance and Coinbase? Okay, if you want to know which altcoins to be buying, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, because later this week, I'm going to do a video talking about the most undervalued altcoins that I personally have been buying into in these recent times that I think offer the best value right now. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, notification bell turned on, because I think some of these altcoins are going to give some of the biggest gains, if not the biggest gains, during this crypto bull market, all from the major narratives, and I'll give you the deep dive research as to why I'm so bullish on them later in the week. Not only that, if you want to know where to buy them, make sure you're also signed up for a Bitunix and WEEX account, linked down below in the description. These are two exchanges that offer over 1,000 different altcoins between them, and they also don't require KYC. So no matter where you live in the world, you can sign up for these exchanges without having to KYC. Also, you can access a lot of the smaller cap altcoins that are not available on Coinbase or Binance. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on with the Bitcoin dominance and what is going on here. Now, if you have ever looked into supply and demand trading, then you might understand a little bit more about what I'm about to tell you here. If you look at this particular chart, this is Bitcoin dominance, but it's kind of goes for everything. You'll see that there are areas where the price kind of tends to bounce from quite frequently, somewhere down here between the sort of 36 to 40% range, which you would call demand. It means if the price gets in there, the demand is high. If you think about if they made iPhones worth like $3,000, then probably less people would want to buy them. Some people would still buy them, okay, but there wouldn't be that many people wanting. The demand would go down, the price would have to drop effectively. However, if you suddenly decreased the price of an iPhone to, let's say, $400 down from $1,000, suddenly everyone would be running to the Apple store to try and buy an iPhone. Therefore, there will be less iPhones available. Everyone would then start to sell them secondary market online, etc. The prices would increase, okay? This is supply and demand, simply how it works. When prices hit demand, it's a good time to buy. When prices hit supply, it's a good time to sell. This is the Bitcoin dominance though, not necessarily when we would like to sell. Now, if we zoom in closer, because this is obviously a weekly chart, we can see that we are running into an area where the price tends to seem to reverse. We can see it happen before, and we can see it's happened this time with a very big wick towards the upside. We saw this the other day. This is showing that the price is trying to aggressively get up there, but it really is struggling. This would probably indicate a blow off top wick. If we drag this across, we can also see something very interesting. Look at last time that the Bitcoin dominance was in this area, and you're going to be like, yeah, but it was all the way up here, and it was. Okay, but at that time, there was far less altcoins in the market, and as well, the other altcoins were less established. Okay, now I think there are more altcoins which are better established. You also have a more kind of broad educated market who are not just trying to buy Bitcoin. In fact, they're trying to buy other things. So it's not anticipated that we get up here. Okay, the same was true of the 2017 bull market, bear market, whatever. Bitcoin dominance, you can see, never returned up there again. Okay, so very unlikely that we see a Bitcoin dominance return to there, in my opinion. Now, if we zoom in though and see what happens in this red zone, which is, bear in mind where we are right this second, then you'll see that the price of Bitcoin dominance dumps very hard from this area. Okay, dumps very hard from this area. This is indicating typically a supply zone. And here you can see this on the Bitcoin chart. Okay, this is the last bear market. Bitcoin came all the way down and it peaked up into this area. If we run the zone across, you can see that there was a very big sell-off on Bitcoin here. Okay, that sell-off saw Bitcoin go down 14%, all the way down around 31% before it retraces, and then it sells off again. So these are quite good areas to look at. It's kind of like a buy zone, but on the flip side, a sell zone. It's a supply zone. This is where the supply is high. The demand is not that big. It tends to cause dumps towards the downside. That happens time and time again. So on the supply zone, things are looking pretty good for the Bitcoin dominance for us who are bullish and want to see some altcoins seeing some good pushes. But if we jump into a 4-hour chart, here is what we're looking at. This is a symmetrical triangle, okay? And right now we've seen it break significantly to the downside over this weekend. We've now come up to retest it. And you can see this is a retest right now. It's getting sold off again. If this happens like this, you're going to see the altcoins running very, very strongly in a short space of time. Also jumping across to the USDT dominance, okay, which is typically high and goes up when altcoins and Bitcoin in general are falling. Right now we can see that USDT has been bouncing into this range. People call it resistance. Effectively, it's supply, okay? It's where people are willing to sell because they think that it's at the right kind of price to be selling. And that's what you should think of rather than some sort of imaginary wall why we can't get through there, okay? This is a very significant area for USDT. If you go to a weekly, you'll see why it's so significant, because this is ranging back since 2018, okay? And a failure at this area will likely cause another big shove below. If we go below this green box here and fall down into this area, it is going to send Bitcoin significantly higher. It's going to send altcoins way, way higher, because this is billions and billions of dollars, okay? This would be a significant leg up in crypto if this is to occur. Now, I'm telling you this right now because I know it's incredibly difficult to make your way through this bull market with so much noise and worry and fear out there. This is a game. There is big money in this market, and those big investors aren't going to let you make money easily. So you have to think a little bit more like they're thinking, what games they're playing, in order to manipulate you into making decisions that they can benefit from. If you're feeling scared and worried in these crypto markets, it's quite evident what they're trying to get you to do. When they're trying to make you do that, they're doing it for a reason. They're trying to get you to sell up so that you can create the liquidity that they want to be able to buy and move prices higher. On the flip side of things, when they are trying to make you feel bullish, when they're trying to tell you later on this year that Bitcoin is going to go into a super cycle, that we're going to see Bitcoin going to $1 million, maybe 1.5, maybe $2 million. This is a time for you to be more cautious and be more fearful and understand that there is a game going on behind the scenes, and for you to remember to try and be disjointed from your emotions and act accordingly, okay? Because if you get too emotional and you act on your emotions, then you're going to end up in a whole world of pain. Okay, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Throughout this year, I'm going to rein you in when you're getting a little bit too greedy and a bit too bullish. And I'm also going to tell you when you need to calm things down and let you know that everything's going to be all right. Kind of like it is right now. So guys, if you got this far through the video, do me a favor. If you haven't already, please just hit that like button. Really, really helps me out more than you know. Also, make sure you're subscribed. And I will see you very soon in another video. Bye-bye.